We are diving deep today into a really interesting global phenomenon, the rapid rise of Vietnam. It's becoming the premier destination, it seems, for strategic expats, professionals, long-term residents in 2025.
It really is. It feels like more than just a destination now. It's a calculated move for, well, thousands, seeking that mix of fast economic growth and, real cultural depth.
Yeah, a strategic shift. And our sources, they seem to back this up. We're looking at financial publications, Kiplinger, for example,
Mm.
global residency folks like Nomad Capitalists.
Right, and they all confirm it. Vietnam's definitely moving beyond just being a high-volume tourist spot. It's now a serious contender for foreign investment for professional talent.
Exactly. So what we've done is synthesized all this material to try and answer a core question for you, the listener. What's the real value proposition here? And crucially, what are the strategic hurdles you absolutely need to plan for before, making that leap?
Going beyond the postcards, basically.
Totally. Okay, let's unpack this and maybe start with the factor everyone talks about first.
Affordability has to be. It's the anchor, really, of Vietnam's appeal. When we talk cost of living, it's just, well, it's a game changer compared to almost anywhere else in Asia's economic hubs.
The numbers really are quite startling, aren't they? The sources suggest that even in big cities, Ho Chi Minh City, Hanoi, and Expat can live like genuinely comfortably for around $1,000 a month,
Yeah, and that's not just scraping by. That's covering housing, utilities, transport, food, even some fun money. It's a proper lifestyle.
which gives you incredible leverage, financially speaking.
Absolutely. If you're stretching retirement funds or maybe you're a digital professional trying to keep overhead super low, Vietnam just rockets to the top of the list.
You can pay that $1,000 to, say, Tokyo or Singapore, even Bangkok.
Oh, the difference is massive.
Yeah.
Just huge operational cost savings.
But it's not purely about the dollars and cents, is it? The lifestyle itself sounds incredibly vibrant.
Definitely not. We've seen material contrasting the main experiences. You've got that energetic, almost nonstop urban buzz of Ho Chi Minh City, HTMC, the economic engine,
Yeah.
modernity and history just bumping up against each other.
Right, and then contrast that with,
Well, you go central or north,
yeah,
and it's a totally different pace. Think Da Nang, the beaches, or the sort of deeper, quieter cultural feel of Hanoi, perhaps.
yeah, the sources really hit on that diversity. Misty Mountains, rice paddies, amazing historical sites. It's all there.
And something else that comes up again and again is the people.
Yes, the local population, often described as really welcoming, focused on the future.
Exactly. An eagerness to engage, to modernize. That can make the cultural integration, maybe a bit smoother for new residents compared to some other places in Asia.
Okay, so we've got the dream. Affordable, vibrant, diverse, welcoming. But we have to pivot now, right, to the practical reality.
Yes. And this is where the preparation becomes, well, absolutely paramount.
Let's talk infrastructure first. The sources are clear. Vietnam's investing heavily, especially to support this growing foreign community, both businesses and residents. What specific improvements are most relevant, say, for a professional expat?
Well, the big ones are digital and urban transit.
Hmm.
Obviously, reliable, high-speed internet is crucial. That's a major push,
Essential for anyone working remotely or running a business.
for sure. But also physically, think about living and working spaces.
Hmm.
Growth is so rapid and foreign property ownership is legally quite complex.
Right. Foreigners generally can't just buy a house or apartment easily,
Yeah.
which forces them into the rental market.
Exactly, or more specifically into the service sector. You see this huge expansion in professionally managed serviced apartments, serviced offices too. These offer stability, they handle compliance issues, and give flexible terms.
So solutions built for people staying longer than a quick holiday? Professionals, corporate teams?
Precisely. It's almost a strategic necessity to lock down comfortable, reliable living and workspace up front because of those legal limitations on direct ownership.
Okay, good point. Let's shift to another critical area, healthcare. What does an expat absolutely need to know?
This is a big one for planning. Basic healthcare is available widely, sure, but the strong advice from the sources is, if you need specialized care or just consistently high-quality care, you really must prioritize living near the big metro centers.
So HTMC or Hanoi again?
Primarily, yes. That's where the best facilities, especially the international standard ones, are concentrated.
And what's the deal with quality versus cost there? Public versus private?
Public healthcare can be very inexpensive, but you might face long waits, maybe language barriers. Most professional expats tend to use the private international hospitals.
Which offer Western standards.
Pretty much, yeah. Often at a lower cost than you'd pay back in Europe and North America, but, and this is key, you need solid international health insurance.
Ah, so that insurance premium cost needs to be factored into the budget. It eats into that $1,000 a month benefit a bit.
It absolutely does. It's a necessary cost you have to account for. It's vital context.
Okay, let's tackle the admin and financial side now. Sources mention two main practical hurdles: language and tax.
Yeah, the language barrier, Vietnamese, it's definitely there, especially once you get outside the main business and tourist hubs.
But English is spreading.
It is, yeah. Rapidly increasing, especially among younger people, those working in commerce. So the hurdle's getting lower, but you still need patience day to day.
Okay, but the financial hurdle, tax. This sounds non-negotiable and maybe easy to overlook. Tell us about the tax implications again.
This is really the critical financial fine print. If you become a tax resident in Vietnam, and that's usually based on how long you're physically there, like 183 days or more in a year,
Okay.
you become subject to worldwide income tax.
Whoa, hang on. Worldwide. So even if I'm, say, American, working remotely from my U.S. company, and that money never even hits a Vietnamese bank account, I technically owe Vietnamese tax on it.
Technically, yes.
Yeah.
That's what the law says. Now, you raised a great point about enforcement.
Yeah, how actively are they chasing that down for someone who isn't drawing a local salary or running a local business? Seems like a big challenge for the digital nomad types.
Enforcement does tend to focus more on the traceable income, local employment contracts, heavy use of local banks, setting up a Vietnamese company. However, the legal framework is clear. The liability exists.
So it's a risk.
It's a risk. And for anyone with significant income or definitely planning to make Vietnam their primary base, getting professional international tax advice isn't just recommended, it's mandatory. You need to plan proactively to stay compliant and avoid, well, nasty surprises later.
Okay, that's a major flag. And it leads us to what might be the most interesting and perhaps challenging part, especially for retirees. Despite Vietnam looking great on paper for a retirement lifestyle, costs getting long-term residency is complicated.
It's the major paradox, isn't it? Vietnam simply doesn't offer a specific retirement visa.
No special path for just living off your pension or savings from abroad.
Nope. Which forces most long-term expats, especially retirees, into the investment category. You can't just show passive income and get residency easily.
That's so different from places like, I don't know, Panama or Portugal, right? Which actively court retirees with special visas.
Completely different. Vietnam signals pretty clear. They seem to prefer active foreign direct investment, FDI, over just passive residential funds. They want capital and entrepreneurs contributing.
So if you want to stay long-term, longer than maybe a 12-month tourist or standard business visa, you're basically pushed towards the investor visa, the DT visa.
That's the main route, yes, the DT visa scheme.
Okay, let's break down those tiers, because this is essential info for anyone thinking strategically. What does it actually cost to secure residency this way?
Well, at the lower end, you've got the DT4 visa. This is often used by smaller-scale entrepreneurs, maybe setting up a small business. It requires an investment under VND $3 billion.
Which is about 120,000 US dollars, roughly.
Roughly, yes. But here's the catch.
It only grants a 12-month validity, right? That's what the sources stress.
Exactly. $120,000, give or take, for just 1 year of residency status.
Which makes it pretty unsuitable for someone planning a passive long-term retirement. It implies you need an ongoing business reason or maybe continuous reinvestment to keep renewing it.
Precisely. It's short-term residency tied directly to active economic participation. Now, contrast that with the top tier.
The DT1 visa, for the really big players.
Right. This requires a truly significant investment. VND $100 billion.
Wow. That's nearly 4 million US dollars.
Around that, yes.
Yeah.
A huge sum. But that level of investment secures the longest residency period, typically up to 5 years at a time.
Okay. So if we connect this all back to the bigger picture, the analysis gets clearer.
It really does. Vietnam is essentially offering a deal, isn't it? You get this amazingly low cost of living, day to day, which is a massive plus.
Huge incentive.
But you have to overcome this potentially very high capital entry barrier just to get the right to enjoy that low cost long term.
So this setup really positions Vietnam less as a cheap place to just passively retire and more as a dynamic base for professionals, for entrepreneurs, for corporate teams who are willing to invest to set up shop properly long term.
Exactly. And securing those reliable long-term living and working solutions we talked about, like apartment service offices, that becomes part of the necessary investment strategy itself. It's baked into the cost of doing business or living there properly.
Right. Okay, so let's try and synthesize this. Vietnam's unique mix, the unmatched affordability, the really deep cultural appeal, the booming opportunities, it absolutely positions it as a top global destination for expats in 2025. That seems validated across the board.
It is. It's a calculated assessment showing up in multiple global
No, the
reports.
calculation is complex. It demands a strategic entry.
Yeah.
You can't just show up and expect to stay indefinitely. You have to come in as a contributor, as an investor.
Which I think raises a really important question for you, the listener, to consider as you might be planning a move. How does that incredibly low cost of daily life, that attractive $1,000 a month figure, how does that justify or offset the potentially very high upfront capital investment needed for long-term residency?
Yeah. What kind of unique planning does that demand? It's not just about finding a cheap place to live, it's about funding the right to live there.
What kind of active long-term planning does this specific arrangement require from you, the intentional expat? It's a fascinating balance.
That balance, high entry barrier versus low living cost, that really is the defining feature of the Vietnam opportunity right now, isn't it? It forces you to be not just a resident, but an intentional investor in the country's growth.
We're thinking about the strategic implications of that decision.
Definitely something to mull over. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.